There's an African legend that states the way to catch a monkey is to simply take a hollowed out gourd and fill it with treats and make the opening into the gourd only large enough for the monkey to fit its hand in, but if it grabs something, not to be able to pull it out. The monkey will not let go of the treat and you can therefore capture it. I always thought this was made up, like an urban legend. Something that was designed just to touch on some key point of human greed. But it turns out it's true. As you see in this video, the monkey can't get its hand out. But here's what's interesting. I figured that maybe in a moment of fight or flight that the monkey was not able to make a connection between opening his hand and actually escaping. It was in panic mode. And that kind of makes sense because people do go into panic mode and don't take appropriate immediate action sometimes. But from the looks of this video, it appears that the monkey is very consistently trying to pull its hand out and then gives up. And this is where there's a disconnect between the treat in his hand and being able to find freedom. Even without a sense of panic, it's unable to do so. And that seems ridiculous to us as humans because as rational creatures, we would certainly consider all the options in a life-threatening situation. As a species, humans are quite unique. We're self-aware creatures with the ability to extrapolate many layers of cause and effect from the past and the future. I mean, no dog is going to look at the food or the grooming of another dog and think, man, I need a new owner. It's not going to care what the appearance of the other dog is, and it's not going to be able to connect the other dog's food with its own owner. It's simply going to want to try and eat the food of the other dog if it can. But as humans, we're much, much more complex and, shall we say, sophisticated. But somehow, we still get caught in traps, even obvious ones, repeated, and we find it impossible to free ourselves. Here's a typical example of a human trap. It's Sunday night and you're about to sit down with your loved ones or your loved one and watch your favorite Netflix series. And you remember there is a brand new quart of your favorite ice cream in the freezer. Obviously, you're going to eat the ice cream. But here's the crazy thing. You bought the ice cream. You were in the grocery store. Your cart was probably already half full of healthy produce and meats and sparkling water, maybe even some roasted almonds. And then you find yourself in the freezer aisle staring at the ice cream. Now, we've already covered the fact that you're not hungry. There's no serious compulsion to grab that pint of Ben & Jerry's and peel the lid off and no spoon just rake your teeth across the top. But you still grab it. Why? You know that you don't want to be consuming that. And this is like the monkey. You know what you want, but you can't let go of what you've captured. What I tell my clients is this. You don't need to let go of treats to be successful. You just need to let go of the ones that'll get you killed. And what that means practically is every time you're eating something that you would consider a treat, you're doing it on purpose, as opposed to accidentally or impulsively or compulsively. It's not the obvious things that get us, like buffets or fair food or Taco Bell benders. It's the inner monkey that can't let go of the deadly treats. When you realize that you're sitting there and your hand is stuck in a bag of chips and you refuse to save the other half for another time, that's when you realize you're caught in a trap. The goal then is not to simply pull your hand out of the bag, but to recognize the trap ahead of time. Any situation that consistently causes strife, such as wishing to stop eating but being compelled to keep doing so, should first be avoided. Life is complicated enough without attempting to manage all of your triggers and traps. One of the best-selling business books of all time is Good to Great by Jim Collins. The book details the findings of a 5-year research study in which 1,435 companies were tracked over a 40-year time period. Out of the 1,435, there were only 11 companies that were able to transition from being good performing companies into great performing companies. The book covers the common denominators shared by these 11 companies and details the ones that are considered to be the key principles to success. In the end, Jim Collins sums up the overriding philosophy of the transition with this beaut of a quote. The real path to greatness, it turns out, requires simplicity and diligence. It requires clarity, not instant illumination. It demands each of us to focus on what is vital and to eliminate all of the extraneous distractions. Now, going back to our ice cream and potato chip scenario, the simplest and easiest path is to recognize the situations that trigger the strife and then avoid them at all costs. That is, eliminate the extraneous distractions.
What is the most inspiring thing I ever said to you?
Don't be an idiot. Changed my life.
So therefore, when you are at the grocery store, you have already determined the intention to buy and eat ice cream or to not. As Yoda would say, do or do not. There is no try.